What's up, world? We here tonight, to speak on generational curses. Your brother, knowledge is key. We got Demetria Good. She's definitely here, along with the good fight. Definitely get them credence and credit. Bet that also. I have to go here. I have an episode of a program that I do called Flowers While They Here.
Mm-hmm.
So Demetria Good is a survivor of domestic abuse. So she actually, how many times were you stabbed, Demetria?
I was brutally beaten and stabbed 6 times.
Whoa, whoa. So she is definitely somebody that her life is that there's a cloak, a veil of protection over her life. So we definitely are gonna have to give her flowers while they're here. So be looking forward to that on a future episode. We're gonna roll out the red carpet, give Demetria her flowers while she's still here.
Thank you.
Definitely. And yes, ma'am, most definitely. So going to tonight's topic, generational curses. I think right now you see a lot of our young men, they are being portrayed as gangster or the type of people that put money on people's head, the type of people that they're not great fathers. This is the image that's being projected by the media. But when you look at the lost tribes that they talk about, biblically speaking, or in the Quran, or in all of these prophetic books, they speak of all these tribes, and you are the tribes that they're speaking about within these texts. So why do we not have the knowledge of what the tribes ate? Nothing that they knew. Our last names are all changed to European names. We make up certain first names, and all of this is the reason that I feel that we are not breaking these generational curses. They might say big mama had diabetes and high blood pressure, and the rest of the family has diabetes and high blood pressure. You ask, why does everybody in our family has diabetes and high blood pressure?
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody eats the same.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has taken it upon themselves to walk, to exercise, to maybe go to a more vegetative diet. Nobody is breaking the curse. They're all repeating the same cycles. Um, some kids grow up. They say, man, I don't really know my father. He wasn't in my home. And you see a lot of young women have daddy issues. A lot of young men have daddy issues. They might have problems with their mother because everything was on the mother. She had to go to work. She had to pick them up. She was responsible for the bill. She has no help. So the frustration they see in that woman, because the woman is connected to the moon, she's ran by cycles as well. You see, it could be an imbalance where that father would normally step in. It's all on the mother. So, I'm gonna get down to that. Like, Demetria, what is your synopsis, or what do you see in our communities or in your personal life that could help break these generational curses?
I was having this conversation with my best friend the other day. I think a lot of what we see is normalized. So if I see my family getting the arguments, starting drama, and I come around when I'm having friendships. I think of friendship is drama, right? Because I watch my family grow up, talk about their friends, and they're sitting with their friends, and you know when you get around, you think it's okay to talk about your friends and sit with your friends because you've watched it growing up. So I think a lot of our behaviors become normalized. That's uh, molestation in families. I'll jump there. Um,
Wow.
your cousin or your uncle or your dad, they've been molested, right? So in return, they molest of another generation, and they molest a child of another generation because the first they're so damaged, it happened to them, so they're hurt. They don't understand, so to someone else, and then someone else. But I think the new generation, they're more so breaking silence. They're more vocal. So I think a part of that, some of it is like shaking, but a lot of it is not shaking because we have so many folks out here that are damaged now from the traumas and abuse in their childhood lives. And that's what I speak heavily about anyway. So this is a perfect topic is childhood traumas affecting life decisions. And a lot of that comes from generational curses. A lot of it comes from habits that have been normalized. If I watch my mom and dad abuse, look at relationships. If I watch my dad abuse my mom, guess what? We end up in abusive relationships. And we don't even think, we try to avoid those relationships. Sometimes it's like a magnet and we ignore signs because they have become normalized. So we totally overlook all red flags because it's been a part of life.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And you say red flag. So, what would you consider a red flag by men? I like to diagnose or go into it like we have a man, so we have an equal balance here. What would you normally go into? Would you see that are red flags with men in your situation? And first of all, first and foremost, I would like to say, did you know anybody in your family that was molested or either beaten? Is that something that repeated within your family, or was this the first time that it did it happen within your family?
I'm gonna say like this. Yes to your question. I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but
Yeah.
yes, on both of molestation is abuse. I tell folks molestation is pretty much a child being raped. That's how I look at molestation: a child being raped, a child being forced by. It doesn't necessarily have to be an adult because sometimes it could be a 15-year-old boy. He was molested at 13, and now when he gets to the age of 15, 16, because of the pattern that happens to him, he's going to molest that 5-year-old cousin or uh, um, male or female. So um, I tell folks, I look as a child, I looked for a lot of attention. I was bullied, um, verbally, physically, by family members because they didn't know how. And now that I sit here, I actually feel, I went through traumas, but I feel bad for them because they went through traumas as well. So in reality, they don't know. Some of them don't even know no better. They're just mentally messed up because of the traumas. You know, becoming a mom with my son, I thought I was going to be this best mom, but in the beginning, I think I started patterns of what I grew up, but I caught them. So it's a God's blessing that I didn't want to be like family because I
Yeah.
came from a broken family. Like, when you sit and you think you have all these little cousins and you can't even have a relationship, everyone's divided, everyone's separated, everyone's in their own little places, and you can't have a relationship with them because of all of the traumas, right?
Mm.
So it becomes normalized, the abuse, the patterns. But you also said look at red flags and men.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's hard to really like notice the red flags. Just like me, like with my situation with my ex. When I met him, he was a sweet, lovable teddy bear. I never thought that we would get to where we were, where love turned into hate. But sometimes when people go through changes in their lives and they're hit, instead of saying, you know what, that person is there for me, and instead of becoming envious and jealous of that person and hating them. So my ex took a downfall. I'm the one that got I was out working 2 jobs to manage and pay the bills, working over 80 hours a week with kids. And he couldn't accept that. He even had vented to one of my friends and had a breakdown. It was like, you know, she's out here grinding and doing this and taking care of home. And he flat out said he felt less of a man. And you know, but then all of the, along with that breakdown came mental issues that was already there that started to come out and spiral. So that anger that he suppressed and never got help for started to come out with the decline in his situation turning the opposite way. So if you run into a situation and there's another woman and a guy's trying to define it and say he's not cheating like an ex, red flag. If you see certain kind of family issues and patterns where it's still drama, the family is still messy, and with the drama, red flag. Um,
Yeah.
where people can't separate, like even with a child, where others that have kids, they can't control their kids, they let the kids say anything they want out of their mouth, red flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
um you know, I think it's so many red flags that we overlook because we
Mhm.
don't see them. We're just going along. And I think one of the biggest is what folks don't understand is financial control. And that's
Big.
abuse as well.
Yeah.
Where a man is doing something for you, or even a female. This goes vice versa. This is not just about man or woman, because I practice men, women, and youth, and everything is reversed. And as a matter of fact, I think a lot of times women give off more abuse than men, because I have abused as well because of my childhood traumas. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I did this for you. I did that for you. They start throwing it in their face. I felt as though I needed to be. You see, I'm here supporting you. You know, that's how it starts. Those are red
Yeah.
flags, and that becomes a financial abuse, which a lot of financial abuse becomes controlled abuse because they start to control everything around you because of their finances. So that is another red flag. I think a lot of
Most
folks
definitely.
avoid that. I think a lot of folks are just like, oh, he brought me a Louis, or him, oh, she brought me a Gucci, or you know, that material stuff. You know, they just see that material
Yeah.
aspect of it. But in the end, you can even see it with celebrities. It becomes a control piece. It could become an abusive piece. It become verbally piece. So, you know, those are, you know, some of the red flags to me.
True. True story. So would you look at any of the red flags, like say you met a person and their mother and father were separated,
Hmm.
or the father was abusive? Would those
Hmm.
be considered red flags, or do you only consider what you see from a person?
Well, not necessarily, because some go through traumas and they become a part of that abuse. And what I mean is they don't separate, so that abuse has become a part of them, so they abuse. Some folks go through that kind of abuse and they're like, I will never ever do that. But typically most abusers have went through abuse. And that's the truth about it. I had a workshop called Childhood Traumas Affecting Life Decisions, and I did an analytical piece on it with a few criterias, and I stringed from childhood and I went into adulthood. So just say the
Mm-hmm.
physical abuse piece of it, I had about 10 people say that they were abused when they were a child. Then we came over to the adult piece. 8 out of the 10 of them were still being abused in their adulthood. So it's a pattern, and that's what the good fight does. We're proving that a lot of what happens in your childhood trickles over into your adulthood.
Yeah, it trickles over to your experience, definitely in adulthood.
Hmm.
So, what do you think about say per se that you're brought up in a certain area, and in the area, like, let me explain what I'm saying first. So I think that people come over from overseas, they get visas, they get
Mm-hmm.
money for schools, and then they get money to operate businesses. The only people that us melanated people have gotten, as far as in the history that we've gotten, is projects. And we have been the project. We have been the experiment to a great degree. And I only say that because in the media, if you want to sell hunger, you put little Mbutu and show flies around him and say, Red Cross, donate here, $20 a day, you're saving these people's life. You want to facilitate drugs. You show people that look like us with money, and that becomes the image over time. But when I truly look at people like us, I see the inventors of the nations. Um, I see the fathers, the mothers, the woman king. It just came out. There are great explanations out there for us if only we tie past slavery. So now when I see the mentality that it's more so of a mentality. The majority of not the majority, some people, and from 90% of our hoods of hoods will greet people. What's up, my nigga? What's up, bitch? This is the way people actually greet each other. So it's like if we change the way we greet, if we see the value in each other, will that trickle down and create, or will that break the curses that we currently deal with if we actually just seen the value in each other?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I'm going to come back. We look at it, folks come over here on visas, folks make money on visas. Okay. So my old part-time job, I used to do front desk concierge, and I really appreciated that job because it taught me cultural values. It taught me um, respect and morals. It taught me, you know, we we individually show how people should treat us, right? It's a lot of folks that automatically disrespect our culture because they're taught to disrespect our culture. But it's not even just being like, it's anyone with dark skin, anyone that sits behind the desk, anyone that takes out trash. It doesn't matter what color you are. It's the status and level that they're on. So I think a lot of folks come over here and they're taught to, you know what, you're going to come over here on a visa, you're going to get to America, these are the programs that they have. We have a cousin here, they're going to show you the ropes, and we're going to help you up. So I think we need to change that perspective a little bit as well. And what happens is their family member comes here on a visa. The family members, they teach them the ropes. They work together. They live together. They value each other. They respect each other, and they together. A lot of the Black community, not all of the Black community, but a lot, we're taught to, if you put 20 Asians in a house, they're going to live together. They're going to make a meal. If it's small, they're going to share. They're going to make sure each other bills are paid. This Asians, Spanish. That's why I respect their culture, and I do. If you notice, all their vehicles are paid off. The house is almost paid off. And then the next family will up and leave and move to the next household to help them establish their household. So that's a normalized pattern with them, right? They are taught to work together, to grow together. As far as the Black community, we're taught to compete against each other. That whoever has the best material wear on is that's the cool person. That's the person to hang around, you know. But the geeky one, the nerdy one, is bullied, made fun of. You're a geek, you're a nerd. But look, at the end of the day, when you turn around, guess who's making the money? The geeky one, the one you talked about. And then all the women are on them when they get older because they financially fit, they're financially stable. For me, this part is I was never taught about finance. I was never taught about a lot of things. So I made a lot of bad financial decisions up
Yeah.
until today, which I'm trying to change my financial patterns because I wasn't taught to save. I wasn't taught to do stocks or bonds. I wasn't taught. It's a lot of things that I wasn't taught. I watch family members go through a stress, and their stress will be shopping. So guess what? You're gonna go shopping before you pay your rent, so you're gonna get evicted because you want to look fly, right? That's what we're taught. We're taught have babies, stay on food stamps, stay on Section 8 instead of the free benefits that they give to outline to give job structures to help you get a job. You don't want to do that because you want the free benefit, right? So if we as a culture came together, we would be so
Yeah.
powerful. Look at us now when we come together and the changes that we can make come together. Why can't we always come together? Why can't we support each other? Why can't I have a business? And this is the biggest struggle with me. I've supported so many folks, but they don't support me back. I'm like, damn, I supported you. Like, you can't even buy a candle. You can't even pay for a ticket to come to my event. I came to your event. I bought somebody. So guess what? I sold 2 tickets. I didn't buy a candle. I bought $100 worth of note, but you can't buy a $15 candle from me. You feel what I'm saying? So we're taught different principles. We're taught different values. We're not taught to support one another, to uplift one another, to not dig a hole for one another. Why do I have to hear all of the bad stuff about someone? What about all of the good stuff that they're doing? It's like, we have to stop trying to tear and bring each other down. And that's a part of the generational curses, is that we are taught to bring each other down almost.
That is man, that is real. That is real. And you hit on so many different things. Like, why is there a competition amongst each other? Like, what are we competing on? Like, because we don't have a military, we don't have an army, navy, nor air force. Um, we're at a point where we even call ourselves black. Yet I look at you from this thing, if I'm being honest, you're a bronze furnace color, a golden brownish color. I'm a goldish brownish color. In the Bible, when they describe Christ, they don't say that that's a black man. They say skin of bronze, like it was
Mm-hmm.
put in a furnace. We are lost and so subjected to so many things because we're not honest. And it's not honest by we just don't want to be honest. It's like we don't even know that we're not being honest. White people are not white people, they're more tan. So if we're going to call people by color, I think we should just start describing them as what color they are. Now, then we can start dealing with nation building. Now we can address nations, because right now we only think about color. All of these confusion has us so tied up that it's difficult to get to a solution, because we seem like disagreeable beings. We can't agree on anything. What are we? Are we Moors? Are we Christians? Are we Hebrew Israelites? Are we Egyptians? Or are we don't know much of anything. And I would ask this: if Big Mama caught diabetes and they had to amputate her leg, and we see everybody in the family is pretty big, or why would a person still continue to eat the same way? Why wouldn't a person attempt to do anything different? Like, what do you think it is in our genetics or people around people where it's more comfortable? I mean, because I think what's gotten this world in the situation was people being comfortable. You seen Malcolm X get assassinated, John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, all of these people got assassinated in the 50s and 60s. And they were talking about a lot of the same things that people talk about today, from the politicians, from the corrupt corporations, from all of these different things. So I think the good fight, and I'm going to speak on it, I'm going to get back to that, but I want to definitely give praises to the good fight, because when you reached out, not only did you want to discuss the issues of you being brutally assaulted, but you also wanted to get men's opinions on what take place. And I see so many platforms right now where it's the men bashing the women. They don't let you see your kids. They want other men to pay for this and pay for that. They bash the women, and then I see women go on a male bashing spree. They serial cheaters. All these. So I have to give praises to the good fight, because when I seen your platform and I actually seen what y'all actually want to get to a solution, y'all want to get to a medium. And I think here and there, we're definitely going to connect, because we're going to bring you the raw, unadulterated truth. And I think in our community, that has been something that's hard to hear, because everything is swept under the rug. You know, little Savannah, she got molested, but nobody in the family wants the mother's brother to know that he molested little Savannah. So it's like, we're not going to talk about that. And, you know, Savannah, don't go into the world and say that you got molested. No, get that shit off your chest. Like,
we're going to talk
get that
about
off your chest.
We're going to talk about it, because why should little
Yes.
why and this is the thing. If you look, I had put a post up a while ago in there in a chat. If you go back, they say you're supposed to don't talk about your family, keep your family business in your house, in your house, or something. I forgot what I said, but I'm a summon. I'm like, so we're supposed to keep family secrets, while Savannah is supposed to walk around with all the hurt and the pain that a family member did to her. Where was the family to protect Savannah? You want Savannah to protect your lives, but Savannah is supposed to walk around and with hurt and pain. Savannah, wake up and protect your hurt and pain so that you can heal. I'm not protecting you. You hurt me. I'm not protecting you, because I can't. In order for me to heal, I have to acknowledge, accept, and cope with my life. And acknowledge, confronting and coping with life is not about me protecting what you did to me. What you should be doing is saying, you know what? I went through some abuse, which caused me to abuse you, and I apologize. Because, you know, God carries us, and he puts us through these trials and tribulations to make us a better person, to make us stronger. Even though we will never fully heal, but acknowledge and confronting those issues is the start. And I'm protecting family. As a matter of fact, if you can't accept that, you're not even family. Family doesn't have to be blood. Blood is relative. That's DNA. Family is someone that's going to protect me, to love me, to comfort me, to listen to me when I cry. I don't want nobody hurting me and watching me cry and then telling me to be quiet. You can't do that. You have no right. No. You're not allowed. I've walked around with all this hurt and pain all my life, and you're telling me to silence? No, now I am the voice to come out to tell you and you and you and you. It's okay to accept your life. It's okay to heal. It's okay to let go of that hurt. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And this is about the Black community. This is about all nationalities, because everyone goes through this generation, these generational curses. And what's even sadder is the community knows these issues. The community where it's not just your household, but it's my best friend's households, my friend over here's household, my friend over here household. But all these households know what they're doing, and they hurting people, and we got to go to school, sit down. I was never molested, so, but I have friends and brothers that have been. But it's like they have to come to school and act normal, sit down and do their work when they're suffering and pain. And then as a friend, I don't know, but it's so many people that we sit by every single day, and they're hurting and they're in pain. Sometimes you got to wonder why are they so angry? Why are they so? Why they can't get along with people? Why does a lot of times they have been hurt? They don't know how to express their hurt. They express their hurt through anger because no one ever said, you know what? It's gonna be okay. How I got through my hurt. Every day I would go to work. This is no lie. Every day for 8 years straight, I would go to work, and I still do it because it's a habit. And I think making folks feel good, it just brings joy to my life. But I would go to, how you doing? How you been today? You have a blessed day. Oh, you look beautiful. Look at your dress. Smile. It's nothing wrong with smile. And people would look at me. I bullshit you not. They would look at me and they'd be like, you know, no one has ever said that to me. No one has ever been kind to me. But it created professional relationships as well. But it also created them to personally come and tell me things about their lives. And you know, I would sit there every day making everyone happy. It made me feel good for the moment. And I would, because I was in a depression, I was stressed. I didn't even know who I was because I was still trying to heal from being brutally beaten, stabbed, and I felt betrayed. And I was like, I'm making everyone happy, but I'm so damaged and empty and hurting. I don't even know where to go. But I'm glad that my ex kept lying on me. I'm glad that his family defended him and didn't hear my side of my life experience, my side of the story. I'm glad that they didn't, because now I come with receipts. Now I'm not silenced. Now there's a lot of truths that haven't been told that will come out. But the biggest part of it is families get into other people's relationship knowing that that individual is not a good person, knowing that that individual has a past, knowing that you are not the first one that they've done this to, maybe not to the certain extent, but they know how that person is and they protect them and they're wrong, which makes them even worse than what they are. And they are abusing the victim more and more and more. Every time they defend that family member and they know that they have issues, they're abusing the victim, all of those shenanigans. But then you look deeper, you like, damn, family damage too. So I mean, you feel you messed up, but then you like, it's some kind of sympathy there because you know that they struggling too from all their traumas. And once you've heard their traumas, you can't do nothing but pray for them sometimes. You can't do nothing but pray for them because they hurt and damaged. So
yeah. So how do you blame a victim? Like how does the victim end up being the person that's in the wrong for a situation? Like the victim shaming and sweeping things under the rug, making a victim look like they're wrong for speaking out. Like I don't care if this is even my child. If I see that you have certain tendencies, and then you see something on later on in life and you're like, man, I've been seeing these tendencies since they was a small kid. Now, these are situations that I see with people, but however, when it comes to dealing with your youth or your family, people don't want to admit. You will see families conceal or hold certain things. I mean, they just came out with the Jeffrey Dahmer series where his parents, everybody around this dude should have known that he was wacko. I mean, they've seen, everyone's seen all the signs.
The dad taught him. He taught him behavior.
Yes.
He was taught bad behavior.
See, that's That's there we go. There we go. There we go. So when you live in a family and you see certain things are not right, this will be my closing statement here. This is my closing statement here. If you're in a family and since a child you have seen things not be correct, you've seen family secrets. In my family, I will say for surely that my grandfather, one thing that I will say that repeated, I see a repetition of. My grandfather had children outside of his marriage. When he had children outside of his marriage, it caused a dysfunction between the children that he had outside of the marriage, between the children that he had within that marriage. So I see repeated cycles of other people having children outside of the first person they had children with. They have they don't accept the other children that come after that. So there's a huge rift of having all these people in your family, but it's really like hate, it's like bad blood or hate there, when it could be your family could have built you say nation, but like there's so many talented people in our family, but there's so many secrets. Somebody might have had a child somewhere and they don't know the father, and it's condoned, it's okay. It's difficult to call somebody else. I'm a person that I don't think anyone's above correction. So if there's ever a situation where I could be corrected that could help somebody else's life, I don't want to ruin a young person's life because I couldn't be honest, because I was holding something I didn't want them to know or something. So now their future is ruined because you couldn't be honest. The first part of healing is acknowledgement. If a person can acknowledge that they did something to you and they were wrong, that will help a whole lot of people be free within itself. If you could admit your wrongness or whatever it is, say, I did that, I apologize. This and that happened to me to put me in that mental space to where it would even create the energy to where something like that could happen. But a lot of people want to say, you know what, I don't think my child does this, or I don't think I went through that. It wasn't that bad. If it wasn't that bad, you wouldn't be doing exactly what you're doing now. Like, I talked to a hypnotherapist a long time ago. He said 80% of the people that he had smoked cigarettes, he could stop making them smoke cigarettes in one day. And this is what he did. He took them back to the time in their life where they took their first puff of a cigarette. If you take them back to that place and you say, what was going on around you? 9 out of 10, they were stressed out and they said, damn, I need a cigarette. And they got so used to that habit of puffing that cigarette. Then once somebody brings it to their attention, they say, damn, I did start smoking cigarettes like that. Or an obese person. The majority of obese women got molested as kids. They started eating so much because they didn't want to go. They didn't want anybody looking at them or doing nothing else to them. So they became obese. A lot of times the diagnosis with them is taking them back to what happened that made them start eating a certain way or doing certain things. Like, so in my closing statement, to break generational curses, if there's things around you that you don't feel comfortable with, that you see repeating in your family, do something different. Be the change. Don't be the person that says, do as I say, not as I do. You actually do the work and let people see behind you. There we go. In closing.
Can I comment on your closing real quick? Because I'm about to say something real deep before we leave.
Most definite. Most definite. Most definite.
So the thing is, first of all, my kids will tell you, I always accountable. So I wasn't the parent that said, my child ain't gonna do this. I always hear folks say that, not my child do this. But if their child go out and they lose their lives, you said your child wouldn't do that, but you don't know how much trouble your child is getting into because you're blindsided. We have to hold our kids accountable too. We have to give them structure. We have to give them boundaries. We have to make them accountable. And you can never say what your child won't do, because peer pressure in society will change every boundary how you have raised your child in the home. Peer pressure can be greater than what a parent's parenting, right? So, and it's not even that, it's a lot of signs that we don't see within our child. We don't see the changes within our child because we're so invested in our work and building a foundation for home, and just because we sit at a table together, that does not mean that we don't have issues. But I want to say something about normalize the patterns and the behaviors. Sometimes we don't realize that we're doing wrong. And I'm going to say this, the reason why we know that we're doing wrong is because these behaviors as a child into our childhood have become normalized. So we think that what we're doing is acceptable until someone tell us we're wrong. And even if they're telling us we're wrong, we're like, well, how is it wrong? I've seen my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, my uncle, my aunt, I've seen everybody in my family display these actions. So how is that wrong? You learn it's wrong when you really get into society and you're paying attention and you get into a different lifestyle. You're pulled out of the disentanglement in the household. You have to live on your own, and you get that peace, and then you start to realize, you know what, I've been doing things in my life that just haven't been right because I think it's normalized. It becomes a practice, and I think a lot of my behaviors had become normalized, but I was living a different, but I still had these behaviors of growing up, and I didn't see anything wrong with them because that's what I watched growing up. So how can I say to you, knowledge? You can't walk over there and take that dollar out of the man's pocket is wrong. But if you watch everybody in your household take dollars out of people's pockets, you don't think that's wrong, right? Because you've watched everyone do it. No one has told you that that is wrong. You think it's acceptable but behavior, and that goes back to molestation or anything else. Some don't think it's wrong because it has become normalized. No one has said anything to them. No one has made them accountable for it. So it's what I tell folks is, and I'm going to end because I know you have to go, is even in a relationship, we're so quick to leave the relationship because of issues or because of things that we have experienced in our childhood. We just run away. I've learned now to sit and say, you know what, I don't like that you're doing that to me. These are your flaws. And this is a part of the good fight too, is to allow people, you're doing wrong. That's not right. That's normal. And then I start giving examples. I'll be like, you did A, B, C. Do you think that's right? Do you think that's acceptable? I know you do. And they'll look. And I've had a lot of people stop and say, you know what? I didn't realize I was doing that. They've been doing that for 40 some years. But it took for little old me to say, look what you're doing. You're affecting me. I don't like it. Do you realize what you're doing? And for them to sit and say, no one has never said anything to me, because we are so quick to up and run and leave friendships, relationships, just certain, back telling the person, this is what you did and it affected me. It hurt me. Maybe you should look at these things and fix your life. And it is okay to get therapy. You are not crazy talking to someone, getting help to fix your problems. And that's another part of the Black community is if we go seek help, we're crazy. You are not crazy. It is okay to accept your life. It is okay to want to heal. It is okay to be at peace. This is the first time I have ever loved myself. This is the first time that I am at the most peace in my lifetime, because I have finally, it took me to 40 to go all the way back to my childhood to see that my childhood was affecting me and a lot of the decisions that I had made. And when I looked at the men that I was dealing with, it was a reflection of them that I watched growing up.
Most definite. Most definite. And I will say that because you did say that. Yeah, I was wanted to end it there because I know you got to be up early too. Like, so yeah, we get into that. But I will say this in my own family, for the young men coming up behind me, I have two sons. One son is in the household with me now. Like, so I have both of them. But however, the first son, a generational curse was created, and I had to get to a point where at a point in my life where I said, where did this start? Like, how did this begin? My dad,
So,
he drank a lot when we was younger. Yeah, he drank a lot when he was younger. A lot of things happened that created certain thoughts in my mind, and those thoughts allowed me to attract the situation that I did attract. I don't blame that woman for a lot of the things that she did, because even though I feel like it's not correct, I don't feel like you hurt the children. Shouldn't be somebody did a drive by and now somebody gets hit who wasn't intended. That should never happen. But however, I would openly speak and would love and welcome even that person to ever speak in public. They probably wouldn't do it because of their own actions. They probably would never do it. But I think this is my situation is definitely one for the books. It's definitely one that I want to put out there, because a lot of men that are great fathers, you just heard Kanye West say that after his mother passed, he developed a relationship with his father. And he said that man had the greatest mind out of any man he had ever met in life. But this person was kept out of his life forever because she was educated and he was an ex-Black Panther. So it was easy to make this guy look like he was crazy or a certain way. So it had to be when his children got older to where they developed a relationship with this brilliant person. I feel like I'm in a very much similar situation. Like as they get older, they will be able to say, whoa, my dad is knowledge. Like that's actually my father, because there's been such a wedge, created there. And, breaking these generational curses would be, I say, man, when I was young, I was a serial cheater. Like I was, okay, we get in an argument. Oh, I got the key to that argument for real. Like,
I'm gonna cheat on you.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Man,
but that
like,
probably come from like your dad. Like I don't know if your dad was a cheater, but it could potentially.
I mean, man, I would be young. I would be a young guy. My dad and my mom married. He'd be like, man, look at the thighs on that right there. Like I would see this as a kid. We walking in the mall, like, yeah. So as I got older, I didn't really look at it as nothing wrong with it. It took for me to actually damage people to where I see, damn, they damage beyond control or beyond recognition. They become a totally different person. So I say I wouldn't blame the person, but I would say, hey, it's been 14 years. Get over that. Like I can't, but I've had a lot of women say you can't tell a woman when they should get over something.
You can't. And you can't because I was damaged. I took on my ex's mental issues, and this is what people don't understand. Like I took on all this man's and I made him my problems, and it damaged me. I was confused. I didn't even know who I was.
Yeah, and it shouldn't.
And still, then he was lying on me. But this goes into say as well. You can find a good person and you can abuse them. And I just wonder how many women, and I'm glad you're open about this, that you have damaged, but it now has caused them to abuse. See, when we abuse people, man, it becomes like we've messed them up. So when they get into another relationship, guess what? So they're either likely to repeat and deal with another man like you, or they're liable to display patterns of what you've done to them because they're hurt and they haven't overcome that hurt and that pain, and they may never. So that is another form of normalizing, and we don't realize that. And it can come in adulthood where we have abused someone so much that they start abusing. And I think that's where it comes, where moms get mad at dads with their kids, so they play these games with their kids. Because if a man is cheating, he's caused her so much hurt, what way you gonna get back at him? You gonna get back at him with that child, right? And it's not wrong. It's I mean, it's not right. But some people don't understand the damage and the hurt and pain that they have inflicted on a person just because of what they're going through. No one should play games with a child. I think that's why we see in the thing, folks don't tell the whole story, life experience of it. But I think that sometimes we go too far, too far, and then lies start. It's the lies you make people bad, and then you start pulling people in that should be minding their business. And this is advice to the families: mind your business. Stay out of people's relationships, because you don't want nobody in your relationship. You don't want, when it comes to if you notice, when it comes to somebody and their husband, oh, they ain't letting you. They not letting you in them and their husband business. But when it comes to somebody else, them and their wife, they all in the business. They all in the you got to keep it. You don't want nobody in your relationship, so you stay out of other people's relationship. Mind your business, because you are inflicting more hurt and pain, and you do not know what that person is going from. I am a living testimony of that. And family too. Mind your business. Go get business of your own. That ain't your business. And I'll tell you, in relationships now, because I didn't have nobody in my relationship, even my best friend, she will tell you, she broke down at workshop and she was like, I didn't know my best friend was that much pain. She didn't talk about it because I kept it to myself, because I value what my relationship was supposed to be, and no trespassers are supposed to come into that. I'm telling folks, and I'm sorry folks may get mad at me, if you're in a relationship and the person's family starts coming into your relationship, that's trespassing. That is a red flag. You are potentially going to have more issues than you think that you're going to have. And mothers, mind your business. Let your son be a man. Stop getting in your son's business. Dads, mind your business. Let your son be a man. He may not be like you. How you did things with your wife or your friend, he may not do them. Mind your business. You can't give advice when your home is already broken. Mind your business. Anyone, if somebody's trusting passing in your relationship, you better think about your relationship. I will leave someone now. If people start to, I'm going to ask advice, I'm going to put this person and that person in my relationship, I'll leave you. I will leave you. That is a red flag, and that is the beginning of destruction.
Okay, so I got a question. You drummed up something that gave me a question. All right. Yeah, true story. Real talk. So now I got to ask you a question. All right. So you said that's trespassing, but however you stated before that, never be afraid to talk to somebody or get help, because there are people in relationships that go through things where it is truly hard or difficult to communicate with the person that you're with. And some reason y'all just can't get on the same page. So if you reach out to somebody and say, hey, maybe I need a woman's perspective or opinion on this because I can't quite see where she's coming from. Or you say, I need a man's perspective on this because I'm not quite, you might get a jewel from that person, or you might get problems from that person. So I think sometimes it is always healthy to be able to talk to somebody. Like at certain points, because some people are in relationships and a lot of the abuse occurs because people say, I'm not talking to nobody. It's trespassing. Stay out of my relationship. But the man is beating the children. It's all type of different things. This might be a step
different. That's different. I'm not talking about that. That's the abuse piece of it. That's different. I'm talking about.
I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, I'm talking about people meddling into your relationship. Like, even if my significant
certain got you.
Yeah, he talking trash about me. Like, people need to be like, hey, that's between you and your wife. That's between you and your husband. Yeah, these are the practices that I practice in my marriage. That's what I'm talking about. Abuse is a different beat. Now, if somebody's abusing you, now you need to leave. That's not healthy. That's love. That's not none of that. I don't recommend no one stay in a situation like that. And if you see red flags or the verbal and stuff, you pay attention. Pay attention. When I say trespassing, I mean people meddling in your business, personal relationship business that should not be in your business, right? That's what I mean. Most definitely.
Most definitely.
I'm an advocate. So I'm an advocate for men, women, and youth. And I tell people, Men go through a lot of abuse. A lot of women abuse. They do. They belittle men. And I see, honestly, I see why men snap, because I was in that situation, because I snapped and I said what I said. I know it triggered a point in him, because I know I humiliated him because someone else was listening. And someone else was in my heart. I feel like they were like, well, you never told me that. Whomever he was talking to, I know they were like, you never told me that. I ain't know that, because he was lying on me. And I came and I was like, well, tell him you don't buy alcohol before you buy your daughter diapers. Tell him you ain't paying no bills.
Damn.
I'm the one out working. I went hard. I went to a snap point, but mine was more so, I'm gonna tell you like it is. I'm sick of you, because we were verbally abusing each other. And my verbal abuse more so came from a defense piece. I didn't take it no more, which I could have did. Now that I look back on the situation, I probably could have did a lot of things differently. But when you're angry and you're upset and you have to deal with someone constantly lying on you, you don't think like that. We always go into this defense mode, but we don't go to the self-conscious bias of the mind. We're not thinking that if I take 3 minutes and think about this, I may have a different decision. We instantly react off, oh, they gonna do something to me. Oh, I'm not playing. We go into this defense mode that we're automatically going to defend ourselves. So we have to be mindful of that. What other decision can I make? Can I walk away? Can I leave? Can I do something different? We don't think about that. But I want folks to be mindful. If you meet a person and they such this wonderful person, you know how they wonderful. I love her. She's good for the family. Da 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 da. No one ever stops and says, why did she change? You instantly, with the other side, become the enemy. But no one ever stops and says, this was a good person. This, she did that. She loved them.
What happened?
Took them in as a family. What happened? They never, ever, ever stop and say, what happened? Why did she change? But they know their relative. They know they know how they are. If you know how your relative is, family, y'all got to stop protecting abusers. You have to stop protecting people and you know their pattern and ways. You have to make the abusers have to realize that they are abusing. And the good fight is not just about the victims and survivors, but it's also about getting the message about to help abusers realize that they're abusing, and maybe they'll change their ways so they can feel the impact of what they're doing to someone, how they're hurting people. And sometimes if you can show a person how much they're hurting a person because your behaviors have become normalized from your hurt, maybe they'll change. Maybe that abuser will realize, you know what?
Most definitely.
I've been abusing for 20 years. That's me. I've hurt all these people because I'm hurt. Now it's time for me to get help. And it's okay. It's
Most
okay.
Definitely. Most definitely. Most definitely. Hey, and Miss Demetria, I appreciate you definitely for tapping in, for locking in. Definitely. Y'all make sure y'all go like, share, and subscribe to The Good Fight. Look at The Good Fight. I know you're on Facebook. The Good Fight, GOODE, The Good Fight. And make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Knowledge Born.
YouTube, it's Unfiltered, Unspoken. Come subscribe and like. We got 2 episodes and they are the bomb. I can't wait to see y'all tomorrow. We're gonna tear it up because I just can't wait to hear what my kings have to say. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can't wait. But yeah, let's continue to share each other's platforms to become a unity to do some great things.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. We in there. Peace. Y'all like, share, subscribe. Definitely keep up. We out of there. 1.